Hello, mayong hapon.
Ang hapon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Dapat
Congrats.
mag-isip hello mo. Thanks. Charot.
Eh,
Ma'am.
Sige, let's start. It's 3:36. There's 12 of you, but anyway, sige lang. Kamura man lagi gihapon. Yeah. First off, I'd like you to know that there are 40 of you in this class. Since we're only allowed to have 30 manata in a class, what we did was to split the section into two sections. So ayaw mo gatingala if sa inyong ayas nalahiin nyo ang section code. But I will be meeting you together lang gihapon during a time that we agree upon. Okay? So ayaw lang mo katingala kung ang inyong section sa siyas kay naotro kay gisplit mo na mo since we're only allowed 30 in a class, and I think nabot mo 40, 45. So primarily this afternoon, our task is to discuss our syllabus, core syllabus, and maybe you'd like some things to be changed or modified or whatever. So ato ang tanawon ato ang core syllabus. So, can you see the syllabus already?
yes, ma'am.
Tara, sige. Very good. So, this is one of your electives, one of the 3 electives that you have for psychology. This is EdPsych. And it is presumed that except for the irregular students, it is presumed supposedly na you already have a background on Psych 1, which is, ano sa ganyan, Psych 1? Is it DevPsych? DevPsych ba? Tama? DevPsych ba? Basta this is DevPsych, Personality Psych, and what's the other psych you had last semester? Ano sa ganito? Can you remember? What's the other psych you had last sem? Uy.
Human
Ano sa inyong
Behavior and
psych?
Organization, ma'am.
HBO, di ay, sige. So, you had Dev, Theories, and HBO or Human Behavior. So, supposedly, you should have a firm background on these 3 prior psychology courses last semester. But anyways, nevertheless, we will be reviewing manggod some concepts, particularly sa DevPsych when we talk about learners. So, sige, let me share the screen again. So, basically, what is the course about? Makita ninyo atong screen. Can you see the syllabus again? Yes? Sige.
Yes, ma'am.
So, basically, the course is about psych in school, no? It focuses on how we learn things, what's the best way to learn, how do we teach, how do we unlearn things. So, ang lain pa gani nga term sa EdPsych is psychology of learning. So, in this particular psychology course, you will be engaged in the wonderful world of education. And I think at this time, it's very relevant because karon nga time, inyong na-experience ang not weird, but beyond normal nga classroom setup. Hence, if you notice, let's go to, I'd like you to look at course outcome number 4, which is basically your major output for the course. I'd like you to develop a model for learning in crisis situations. So isa sa atong natunan karon no during the pandemic is how do we keep learning continuous. how do we continue learning when we are in a crisis situation? Ano relevant man ni? Kaya ang COVID-19, dili lang ang pandemic nga itong ma-experience in our lifetime. And it's not the only crisis that we will have. Can you imagine if, for example, there's armed conflict in an area? How do we continue education when our learners are in a crisis? Or kung nabahaan ng sa lugar, do we allow them to stop schooling? Or if we do allow them to learn, what's the best way for them to learn? Yeah, they are under duress or under stress. That's why, based on your experience in this pandemic, what do you think is the best kind of learning for crisis situations? Do you think ang flexible learning system efficient siya or effective during this time of pandemic? Or is it not effective? Or kung dili man galing siya effective, unsa man inyong ika-suggest based on what we learn here in this course. So, mana siya ang inyong major final output. You will develop a model for learning in crisis. Yeah, kayo magkabala ka nga mag-develop mo ang model because there's actually a format. So we will be looking at, or you will be discussing later on unsa di ay ang best teaching method, unsa ang characteristics sa atong learners pag sila nasa crisis situations. Should you be a strict teacher or should you be a lenient teacher when you're teaching in crisis situations? So later on, you will be making up your own model of learning. Kung kunwari simba ko magka-pandemic na pod, what do you think is the best learning modality that we should have? So that's course outcome number 4. Basically, upat lang atong course outcome, no? That means to say, there are only 4 major output four major output in this course. So for course outcome 1, you will illustrate the importance of EdSci theory and research in classroom practice. Do you think teachers should have or should know a little bit of psychology? Important ba nga ang usa ka maestra kabalo og psychology, no? Next, how do you assess classroom scenarios using cognitive, behavioral, and social constructivist approaches? So, what are some theories of learning that you can apply, or theories of psychology that you can apply in the classroom setting? And then third, analyze how learning characteristics affect the teaching or learning process. So here, you will be learning about learners and their characteristics. Dili lang katong typical learners like elementary students, college students, and high school students. But we will also be looking at special populations, like how do you teach children in special ed? Or how do you teach adults, na adult learning? Because EdSci Manggod, it's not just really an application in schools. You can actually apply its concepts when you conduct trainings. So kung for example, mag-HR mo puhon, mag-design mo og training, you can actually use the things that you learn in EdSci. So, muna siyang course outcome. And these are your specific learning outcomes, and there are performance outputs here, which correspond to your major outputs. So actually, upat lang siya kabuok. First is, so for course outcome 1, so what we will be doing is defining EdSci, tracing its historical background, and examining how research is used in EdSci. And then for your output, we will do a case analysis on ethics conducted in educational psych research. And then for number 2, this is now the time that we will look at kanang frameworks or paradigms in learning. So, part diri ang inyong pag-analyze sa atong flexible learning modality. What are its strengths? What are some areas of improvement? And how do you look at flexible learning in the eyes of cognitive, behavioral, and social constructivists? So, inyong output here is an analysis paper on the flexible learning modality. So, basically, kini siya mo ni siya ang inyong maging anchor sa inyong final paper on the model for crisis education. And then, next is learner characteristics. So you will identify principles of cognitive learning. So this time we will go a little bit with biology, no? Particularly looking at how the brain works. Kini siya kining attention, memory, thinking, problem solving. So how does our brain accomplish these processes? How do you retain attention when you're teaching or when you're studying? How do we have or how do we do problem solving? And I think we can also include here creativity. And then we will also discuss relevance of culture, gender, and personality in the learning process. So this is where your personality psych will come into the picture as well as your social psych. How do these shape learning? And then we will go over special population learners. Kato kayo sa inyo nga, children with developmental needs or those with mental health issues or adult learners, kilay man ang pagtuon sa adults and those who are still young. Even there's a difference between learning in college and those who are learning as children. So, dara na siya makita. And here, your output will be an insight paper on a webinar with special IP teachers. So, kini siya on hold. I'm not really sure if we can do this. I was hoping to invite a special ed teacher so that you can see no unsa ang kinabuhi sa usa ka SPED teacher. But I will try to invite somebody for you to know about special ed. And then for the fourth one, this is now the final output. Develop a model for learning in crisis. So we will look at classroom management, assessment. Assessment meaning you have your pen and paper assessment or you have your performance-based assessment. And then sa inyuhang sa preliminary for your model, we will ask you to design a lesson wherein ang topic ninyo is resilient education. How do we make education resilient and continuous even during crisis? So, kana siya. You know the grading system already. 40% major exam. So the 40% is this one, your output for course outcome number 4. And then 60% would be your course outcome 1 to 3. I think maulang man siguro. Can we have questions so far on your deliverables before we proceed to other stuff? Questions? Clarifications? Violent reactions? Charot. Wala na? Okay ra mo adto? Kaya ra ninyo? What do you
Okay ra,
think?
ma'am.
Okay ra? Sure na gyud. Magpahangyo para bonta ko. Charot. Okay ra? Is it doable? Yes? No? Maybe? Or would you like some parts of it to be changed? Wala na? Okay na mo adto? Sure na? Going once? Going twice? Going thrice? Wala na. So we're good with the syllabus and your deliverables. So let's now go to your course file. So we already created our Google Classroom. Og naana dito ang inyong reference text, right? Did you see it already? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Ninyo. So in ani ang ato ang style sa ato ang modules for this course. So I saw in your enrollment nga kamo man tanan wala may nagprinted. Wala nagprinted nakita na ko sa gateway. So we will settle with the Google Classroom and your tawag na Facebook group. Now, we will be making or I will be uploading every once in a while your course file. Yung nanihang setup. Ang lecture nga part would be based on the book that we have uploaded. So, kintahay, ang makabutang niya, read chapters, for example, read chapter 1 to 3, and then natin sa baba ang activities. So, always go back to your reference text. Okay? So, ang input nga part would be in the reference text. Do you follow? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Unlike dili siya parehas sa inyong intro to Soksay na book. If you notice sa inyong intro before, na ang input daan sa IM or sa material. So this time, I will only be stating you read these pages and ang nasa course file would be the activity or the output that you would be doing. Okay, is that clear? Yes?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Sige. Okay. Now, kanusaman mo mag-submit sa inyong mga course output. So supposedly, we don't impose deadlines on submission. So before that, pila ka output ang inyong isubmit. As I mentioned kagaina, since there are 4 course outcomes, that would translate to 4 course files or to 4 units in your course file. Upat siya ka units o kada unit naa siya'y inyuhang ansiran nga inyuhang isubmit sa ako ug napod siya'y output, course output na inyuhang isubmit. Okay? Now, when will you submit the course output and the needed worksheets? Supposedly, we should not be imposing deadlines, pero per our experience last year, kapag dili ka mag-impose og deadline, ang mga estudyante, dito na sila magdumog og submit sa December. Unya, by that time, nagtipok na ang tanan ninyo isubmit. So we don't want that to happen. So in our case, I would encourage you to submit outputs every month. Kung dili mo makasubmit ana nga bulan, fine, dili ra I will not scold you, but it's up to you to catch up nga dapat at the end of May, most likely nakasubmit na mo sa tanan ninyo dapat isubmit. That's because you have to understand that you will also be checking your papers and then you have other subjects nga mag-require pod og submission. So it's better for you to submit at least once a month. Kung kanus mo makasubmit, kamo na bahala. But I would really, really appreciate and encourage you to submit at least one output or one module every month so that dili magtipon og ang inyong buhaton. Okay, is that clear? Not imposed ha, but you are encouraged to submit every month. Okay, basta ninyo akong i-report nga nag-deadline ko. Charot. So again, you're encouraged to submit your output every month. Kung di mo makasubmit, fine. Basta kayo mas kasubmit mo at the end of the semester. Okay? Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Paning kamuti lang gud niyo makasubmit mo once a month. Sige,
Yes,
so that's
ma'am.
clear. Okay na? Next, how about
Yes, ma'am.
our Google meetings? Ano sa tama Google Meet? Every day, charot dili. You will be meeting only twice a month. Twice a month lang. Twice a month. Because the first part is to introduce the topic or the unit, and the last part is to process what you learned in the unit. Mong kaduha sa isa ka bulan. That's the beauty of flexible learning. You get to learn on your own. So atong waton, first meeting every month, we will discuss or introduce the module or the unit, and then the last part would be to process what you learned. Okay, is that fine?
Okay,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Kaya na? Or gusto mo mag-meet every week?
Okay.
Gasto kay load,
Twice.
ma'am.
Mao man, true. So, inana lang ha. Although maybe sometimes, if there's an emergency or what, basin makamita o makamita more than twice, but I will ask for your consent if we could meet. Ang mandatory, dili pod mandatory, ang kanang i-meet lang gid nato siya nga schedule is twice a month. Okems?
Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Next, I think this is very important based on our experience last semester. Kanang abi sa mga estudyante nga dili na mo ginabasa ang ilang ginasubmit. And we actually read them and it's easy for us to identify nga ang isa ka output sa isa ka student exactly the same words sa other student. So I think it's impossible to have the same answer even if your reference is the same. So I'm giving you a warning. Please do not do that in our class. Kanang awaton bitaw ninyo ang word for word ang answer sa inyong classmate. I have experience of students who did this. Unya, luy kay lahang gikopyahan kay wa siya nakabalo nga giawat na day word for word ang iyang answer. So sila duha ang na Shakira, no? So please do not allow your classmates to copy your answers word for word. If they ask for your help on a module, do not give your entire answer to them because you don't know if they will copy it. No, careful lang pod mo sa inyong mga pagtabang sa inyong classmate. Kay basin kang ang malanganin. Okay? Pero it's easy to detect if you have the same answer. Even if tagas ng inyong ginansiran, pero kaya memorize din na mo, nabasahan ko naman ni. So it's easy to detect. So please do not do that in this class. Kay mga third year na raba mo, you're expected to be, responsible and etc. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Sige. I think more na siya ako ang points. Do you have questions or clarifications? The floor is now open for your questions. Naa? Wala? Okay na? By the way, kanang all messages will be transmitted in the FB group page. Di na ko mo group chat ha kay di ko ganahan no group chat. Kasi uso ang screenshot. So dito lang sa group page kung namoy message dito, you may post it there or you may private message me. I won't make a group chat anymore for our class. Okay, kamo ni bala group chat sa inyong mga kogalingon pero wala lang group chat nga member ko. Ox. Sige, questions? Clarifications? Okay na mo? When will I will post the first unit by Friday so that you can start working on it. And then, ato ding meeting, our meeting dayon for February would be on the 26th, Feb 26. So by that time, I hope kanang since ma-upload naman ako ang inyong course file for Unit 1 on Friday, I hope by Feb 26, medyo nakabasa-basa na mo, na may answer-answer gamay, because you'll be discussing its contents. Feb 26, that's Friday. Tama ba? Friday ba ito ang next? Thursday, Friday ito, no? Tama.
Yes, ma'am.
So, 9
So, ma'am.
a.m. Okay? Okay na? Clear? Questions? Wala na? Okay na mo?
Okay na, ma'am.
Okay na, ma'am.
Sure mo ba? Charot.
Awesome.
Okay na?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay na, ma'am.
Sige, so mag-picture na ta.
Ay, sure.
Ito kasi Yulizel. Sige, pag-on sa mo sa inyong mga kuan-be. Kaya ako mong picturean.
Ma'am.
Pang pruweba ng nagklasiko. Char. Wow. Full screen. Naman mo. Ang naka-joker kay di din ko kabalo ko.
Uy, ayaw magtapa, please.
Sige. Okay na mo. Sige. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Uy, Yulizel. Tapos kag buhok na. Sige, again. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Ang uban kay di na ko makita. Ano lang screenshot ang nag-join. Okay. That's all. Salamat.
Bye, ma'am.
Para i-post ang recording sa atong
Thank you,
video.
ma'am. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Look, bayod. Bye, ma'am.
Buyers.
Buyers.